the chat. How's everyone going? How is your day going? Have you been having a nice day? What have you been up to? Yeah, how's it going? Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Laura. I'm having a great day so far, and I'm really excited to be doing our workshop today.
Oh my gosh, I've actually been having a really nice day too, and I honestly have been so excited for this workshop. We're going to do maths today, and it's going to be a really fun workshop. It's not going to be like 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, there's a bit of that, but it's like a lot of like, let's use maths in a really fun way. I'm really keen for it. Actually, really excited. It's going to be really good. Now, chat, before we get started, hey, let us know. Is this your first workshop you've come along to? Have been to a few before? Yeah, we want to know. We want to hear from you. So say hi, say hi. Now, before we do get into like the nitty and gritty of everything we're going through today, we just want to do something really important, which is acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which at least I'm streaming from today. I'm on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And, we want to acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging. Now, hey, Sarah.
Hey, Laura.
STEM. What about it, huh?
Science, technology, engineering, and what we are covering today, maths. So for those of you who haven't heard of STEM before, this is how we sort of group a cluster of different subjects together. They are all very different, but all of them, we don't have enough women and girls doing them. So that's part of what we're doing today, is increasing the number of women and girls thinking about STEM and STEM careers.
That's so true, Sarah. And, this is obviously part of Sunsilk's Rethink Pink campaign. So how come, Sunsilk thinks that STEM is, important to kind of cover in this kind of Rethink Pink campaign?
Well, earlier in the year, so in 2021, Sunsilk did a massive study. So spoke to over 1,000 women and girls in Australia and over, I think, 400 women and girls in New Zealand, and had a conversation about, what are our thoughts around STEM and STEM careers. And the survey was called Rethink Pink study, and it uncovered that young girls think that a career in STEM is not achievable for them, which course it is, and that's why we're here today. And mums also, on the flip side, felt that they needed a bit more knowledge and understanding and support to be able to help their daughters and their career ambitions in STEM. So marrying those things together, that's what's led us to these workshops today, which is really cool.
I love it. And on that kind of topic of that study, I got some facts to share. Now, 81% of women and girls believe that STEM-related fields of work will be important in the future. I reckon I agree with that one. What do you think, Sarah? Do you reckon it'll be important in the future?
I know it is. I know how important it is.
I agree. And tell us in the chat, what do you think? Do you reckon STEM-related fields are going to be important? The answer is yes, but tell us what you think. Now, we've got another fact here. Did you know that 47% believe that gender imbalance is limiting progress and innovation? And I'm such a big believer in this, and Sarah, I'm sure you're the same. Especially my background's in tech, but this is for science, engineering, and maths as well. STEM is about, creating new things and new possibilities for the world, right? It's about pushing everyone forward into new, exciting kind of areas. And we need to make sure that we've got a diverse group of people, making sure that happens, right? If we're only hearing from one group of people, then how are we making sure that what we're doing with everyone and where we're going and progressing is going to include everyone? So it's so important to make sure that we have voices from everyone in STEM related fields to make sure that everyone's involved in the future and everyone is equally represented in the future, I would say. Would you agree with that one, Sarah?
Including everyone here today. So
exactly.
This is the start. This is where we get started.
Exactly. And the last little fact here is that 12% of Australian women would like to pursue a career in STEM, but don't know where to start. And that's what we're here for today. We're going to help you figure out how you can do that. If you're a little bit unsure, because sometimes it can be a bit confusing, like, how do I start a career in STEM? I don't know. We're here to help you out. Now, just quickly, if you don't know who me and Sarah are, I briefly mentioned my background as a tech. So, hi, everyone. My name's Laura. I obviously work at Girl Geek Academy, but I also have a background in video game design. So I'm a video game designer. I have been for, oh my gosh, like 5-6 years now. I've been doing it for a while. And it means I love everything tech and everything games. I love designing stuff and I love art, and yeah, I really love playing games. So if you're playing anything awesome, please let me know, because I absolutely want to talk about it with you. Seriously, I can talk about games forever. Like, sometimes I worry about the people around me, because if someone asks me a question about games, I just start rambling. So please, if anyone's playing anything interesting or has any even questions about how you get a job as a game designer or how you work in the video game industry, please feel free to ask in the chat, because honestly, I'm always happy to talk about it. It's my favorite thing. And Sarah, do you want to maybe introduce yourself for anyone who maybe hasn't met you yet?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Sarah and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Geek Academy. So I have 4 other co-founders who do lots of interesting things in STEM as well. And I'm really excited about this topic because we might get to use some of my CEO skills. So a CEO is a chief executive officer, and they're the person who leads an organization. And I'm hoping that some of you today might be future CEOs. And that's something that you might aspire to do and be one day as well.
I reckon there's probably going to be some future CEOs in the chat, or maybe there's some current CEOs in the chat. Maybe some of our mums and guardians are current CEOs. Let us know if you want. Feel free to let us know. Now, just some things to keep in mind when we are going through this workshop as well. Let's keep in mind that we are all going to learn at different paces today, because, you know, a few of us are going to be different ages. And that's really exciting because it means it's a really good opportunity for us to be awesome role models to each other. If you see a question in the chat and you know the answer, or maybe if you have a question and you want to have it answered, feel free to, you know, help each other out in the chat. That's the super exciting thing about getting together in this format, is we can all help each other in a safe and kind of, you know, internet safe way. Make sure we're not giving out any personal information, but we are helping our friends. We're building each other up to make sure that we are learning the most awesome things ever, and we are just supporting each other's amazing ideas. Now, let's also keep in mind that this is a marathon, it's not a sprint, yeah? So sometimes with STEM, it can feel a little bit like, I'm never gonna figure it out, I don't know what's going on instantly, so I'll never get it. And I have felt like that a bajillion times. Sarah, have you ever felt like you can't figure out something right away, so maybe you'll just never figure it out?
And you just get like a bit panicky, like, I don't know.
Yeah, if you feel like that, it's very, very normal, and that's completely fine, because we're here to help each other out. That's something I always tell myself. I think the other person actually taught me this, but if I don't know how to do something right away, it's not that I'm never going to figure it out. It's just that I don't know how to do it yet, and that's fine. I have faith in myself and confidence in myself that I'm going to figure it out eventually, and I'm sure everyone is the same. Everyone can figure it out. It just takes a bit of patience. That's it. I actually remember when you taught me that one, Sarah. I seriously take it with me everywhere. It was a good one.
I mean, I think what people forget too is that there's never enough time to get everything done in one go. But if we go away and have a little bit of a think and come back again later, we'll probably be able to get it again, because that's how our brains work. Our brains take time to sort of remember things and fitting all the bits of the puzzle together in our head. And sometimes it just takes another day or so, and that's fine. We've got plenty of time together to be friends at Geek Academy.
We do. I'm so excited. Now, let's have a little chat about mathematics. Maths. Tell us in the chat, what is something you've recently learned in maths class? If you're doing maths class, if you're not doing maths class, what's a maths thing you recently learned? And let us know, do you think you're ever going to use the maths concepts that you use or that you've learned in class in real life? Or have you ever felt like, I'm never going to use this in real life? I know I've sometimes felt like that, to be honest with you. Sometimes when I was learning stuff in maths class, I felt like, I actually quite like maths. I actually find it really fun. But sometimes I would be learning it and being like, why am I ever going to need to know the area of a triangle? Like, how is that going to help me in my life? Sarah, have you ever felt like that before?
Yeah, I have actually, because sometimes if your class is just writing down all of the maths bits, I'm like, great, but where do I use it? But then my favorite ways of using maths was always, so I had, like, there were these books you could get from the library that were always maths puzzles. So things like, you know, if someone was going across the river and then someone needed to carry someone back, and how many trips across the river would you have to take? And I always liked those because they were real life things, and I could think about the maths in a way that was useful. And so that's what I'm hoping we're going to do a little bit of today, that it's like, how do we use maths in the real world?
Exactly. I feel the exact same way. I like often felt like, you know, oh, this is really fun and this is kind of cool, but like, how am I ever going to use this in my real life? And let me just say, like, as a video game designer and developer, I use maths a lot. And it's often maths that I thought I would never need. But we're going to have a chat about a bunch of different ways that you would use maths in areas you might not actually think you might need it. So we'll have a chat about that today. But tell us in the chat, what are some examples you can think of that maybe right now you've learned something in class in maths and you've thought, I'm never going to need this, and then you actually have used it. Tell us in the chat if you've ever had that happen. And that, that's for parents and guardians as well. Let us know if you've been surprised with some maths you've used in real life. Some real life examples that I've had when I've used maths in real life are when I have done some cooking, when I have read my watch, when I'm shopping and deciding what to buy. Sometimes I do a bit of like a percentage way up, or like I look at my balance in my bank and think, I can't afford that. When I'm kind of thinking about a budget. They're just a few examples that I've used maths for in real life. Sarah, have you ever done any of these, or can you maybe think of any other examples of just everyday things you've done in your life where you've kind of used maths without even really thinking about it?
So my favorite, I think, when I got my first job, I was 14 and I got a job in a cinema. And at the cinema, you would like sell the popcorn, and I'd if you think about it, I was the cinema usher. So I had to think like, the movie goes for 1 hour and 36 minutes. So when's it going to finish before the next one? And how much time did I have to clean up all the popcorn and then let the next lot of people in with all the tickets? But my favorite one at the cinema was counting the tills, because you would have all the different coins and you had to add up the money to make sure there was the right amount of money in the till and that it matched up. And it was so much fun because it was physical. Like 5, 10, 15, 20 of the 5-cent pieces, and then like 1, 2, 3, and I really liked it because I felt like I could touch the maths of counting a till.
Exact same experience. So I used to work at a video game store. I just have had games my whole life. I used to work at a video game shop, and I was the youngest that worked there. And I remember when I worked there for long enough and I got promoted to having the job of being allowed the person to count the till at the end of the day, I was so excited. I was like, yes, I have this responsibility. I get to count the till. And I loved counting the till every time because I felt like I had this like amazing responsibility, and it wasn't a responsibility. And the maths, it was fun. You got to actually touch the maths you were doing. And I felt like a genius every time I counted it right the first time. I was like, wow, I knew I was smart, but it's just been confirmed to me.
You also feel really rich when you have like the big notes and you'd be like, what?
You're like flicking through them.
That's it. It's not your money, so it's not
exactly
the same.
But you're holding it, and for a second you can imagine. Tell us in the chat, moms or guardians, has anyone ever experienced that? Did anyone ever like count the till and just been like, yeah, that's right, I know what I'm doing, I've got it together? It's a good feeling. So obviously we can say maths is really essential for a lot of the things we do around us and for a lot of the things around us to work. Now, can anyone in the chat think of some things in our lives, in our everyday lives, that would be impossible or wouldn't be able to exist without maths? I can think of a lot. There's a lot of things that could not exist without maths. For one, this live stream could not exist without maths because it's programmed and there's programming that goes into it. A lot of programming needs maths. My live stream is pretty disappointing. What are some other things that couldn't exist with maths? I guess yummy cakes couldn't exist without maths.
Yummy cakes. Lots of maths in that, and including how long to put it in the oven for and not burn it.
Yeah. Even setting the temperature of the oven is a bit maths, right?
Absolutely. And the first one that I thought of, I don't know why, hot showers. Because you know how you have to work out like how much hot and how much cold? I was thinking about that. I think that's like the fraction on the little dial for me is math.
Yeah, you're actually right. That's actually a really good point.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really hidden everywhere, isn't it, maths? Like it's kind of like it's everywhere, but you really don't think about it. I think it's very, very fun. Now, we've kind of already talked a little bit about money and like how maths is involved in business, but it's absolutely true that without maths, no business can run. It means lots of our favorite shops and companies couldn't exist, which includes Sunsilk and Girl Geek Academy. Without maths, these two brands just wouldn't exist. Maths is absolutely essential for these brands and companies to run. So tell us in the chat, let's have a think about businesses for a second. If you could run a business one day, what would it be? Like anything. You can run a business for anything. It can be something that actually can't exist in this world, or it could be something like, I want to sell t-shirts one day. Tell me in the chat, or tell us in the chat, I should say, what kind of business would you run in the future? Sarah, you have a business already.
I'm I'm running Girl Geek Academy. So I have one business. But I also think about, how we're actually bringing this business to you now, which is over YouTube. And I remember when YouTube was first invented, that was the business I wanted to run. I wanted to run YouTube. Absolutely. That was the business that I wanted to run. It's actually a part of Google, but I wanted to run the YouTube department. And a woman named Susan currently runs it. So good on you, Susan.
She's got my job. That's awesome. It's funny. I don't know if you get this, Sarah. I mean, you already have your own business, but maybe you get this as well. I am always like daydreaming of businesses that I might like to have one day. Like every couple months, I've told you this actually. Every couple months, like I'm like, oh, I'll do this business now. And I like think about it and I daydream about my business idea. Like a couple months ago, I decided, I'm a video game developer, but I suddenly decided that I wanted to make websites for people for a business. And I like daydreamed about that for about 3 weeks. I was like, yeah, that'll be what I do. I want to do that as a business. So I just cycle through ideas all the time. Tell me in the chat, does anyone else do that? You just like think all the time, oh, that'd be a cool business. I could do that. Like I'm always thinking like that. It's really fun. Like it's a fun way to be. Kind of like have a bit of a daydream.
I think I've always wanted to do that. So when I was at school, I used to run the cake stalls.
Oh, nice. So
I used to run the cake stalls and it was, sometimes it was the cake stall and I always did the tills and everything. And then other times we had, like, they were called fun days at school.
Fun days?
Yeah, like you'd wear casual clothes to school, but then each year group got to run their own shop.
Oh, cute.
So I can't remember, we had lots of different shops at different times. And so we had pretend shops, but with real money. And, you'd pay $1 to go to like the year 1 shop or the year 2 shop. And then, I can't remember what the shops all did, but it was really fun.
That sounds so fun. That sounds like the funnest thing ever. Wow, I actually would like to do that.
and then in high school, I convinced someone to give me like a slushy machine, like an icy machine. And I did a fundraiser for our school I can't remember what it was for, but anyway, I bought these cups that were like actual like icy cups and set up the icy machine and it was good to go. And there was a lineup from one end of the school to the other end of the school for my icy machine. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to run out of icy. I ran out of icy in 8 minutes. And then the line didn't go away and I'm looking at everyone going, oh no, it's going to take forever for the icy to get cold again. And like, I've got all these people. And then this kid looked at me and he goes, I'll just have the cordial. So then it turned my business from being an icy fundraiser at school to everyone, because they all just wanted the cups because the cups were really cool. And so I loved everyone just wanted to feel included. They didn't really care that it wasn't an icy. They just wanted to be part of the cool thing that was happening at school. So yeah, the things you learn to learn on your way to making a business.
That is actually, I reckon that's a pretty good business story. Actually, that's like adapting your business to the market need.
I think, so you can start practicing, like if you start practicing running a business and what it might feel like and some of the mistakes you might make, if you make those mistakes now, then when you get to be a little bit older, then you can run your own business and maybe run a Girl Geek Academy when you're older.
Maybe. So something that is absolutely common across all the dream businesses we've just thought of, Girl Geek Academy, Sunsilk, and even Sarah's cordial slushy lemonade, not lemonade stand, but cordial and slushy and cool cup stand, is kind of, businesses have to budget, right? Basically a budget for a business, or actually like anything, it basically comes down to planned income and spending, which means a good budget is really awesome because it lets you kind of set business goals and make business decisions, and involves things like available capital, estimated spending, and predict revenue, which Sarah might know a little bit more about. But tell us in the chat, what kind of businesses do you think need to create a budget? And I've kind of already answered that, but so what kind of businesses might need to create a budget?
So when we talk about planned income and spending, it's how much money are you going to spend to buy stuff? Like I had to buy all those cups. And then how much money are you going to planning to make. So how many cups was I planning to sell and how much was I selling for? I sold them for $1 just because it was easy. And I think I bought the cups for 20 cents each. So,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I made a lot of money on each one and we had a lot for our fundraiser.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So, you know, obviously all businesses need to have a budget. And when you start thinking about a business, there's lots of important kind of budget things to think about, like how much it's going to cost to start up, something called cash flow, profit and costs, and, you know, lots more. And, you know, obviously to make our business possible, we're going to need to think about maths. So we've just had a bit of a chat about, you know, awesome businesses and how businesses need a budget to run. But I don't know about you, Sarah, but I think I'm actually in the mood to do a bit of an activity. I've been talking about my dream business and I actually just want to plan it a little bit. I want to be able to daydream and plan my business a little bit. Does that sound kind of fun, do you reckon?
Let's jump right in and let's do it.
Let's do it. So basically what we're going to do now, chat, is we are going to post this activity in the chat. It's about making a business plan. We're just going to spend, you know, about 20 minutes just daydreaming up our dream business. And we're going to be chatting about our dream businesses in the chat. Now, we've got like a little PDF that we're going to, we have already linked in the Google Calendar invite. So make sure you head to that Google Calendar invite, and we've also emailed it to you as well to find the PDF for this activity. We're also going to post a link to the Google Slides if you want to have an edit of it to the Google Slides as well. Also, if you want, you're more than welcome just to watch along with us and tell us in the chat when we get to different stages in the slides what you would do for your dream business, because you can just answer the questions in the chat too. So, Sarah, how about we plan our dream business together while everyone else in the chat is planning their dream businesses, and we can all chat about it in the chat and talk about our dreams. How's that sound?
I love that idea, Laura. That's great.
Yeah, nice. Let's do it. So, first things first, what is a business plan? Because basically what we're making here is a business plan. So business plans help you think about what you want to achieve and how you're going to make it happen. They help you think about your company, your project, your customers, and they even help you measure success. Even if you're not a hustler, learning to think like a hustler is kind of like a superpower. And at Girl Geek, we say, at Girl Geek Academy, we say that hustlers are the people on the team who get the project rolling and get the team working together and get the project funded. So Sarah, you would probably say you're a bit of a hustler, right?
I am. And the other two things that we all have a little bit of skills in are hacking and being a hipster. So a hipster makes things look good, the hacker builds the thing, but the role of the hustler is to make sure people actually use it.
Yeah, so I would say I'm probably a bit of a hacker and hipster, and me and Sarah work really well together because I'm kind of good at thinking about, oh, it might look like this, and oh, maybe it'll come together like this, and then Sarah can help me and be like, okay, let's get it to work like this. We're going to bring it all together, and we're going to get it out so other people can see it. So we're a really good team for that reason, I would say, Sarah.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're just going to have a little bit of fun here. You know, planning our dream businesses. You're welcome to make your business as kind of fantasy. Maybe you want to breed dragons or something, or maybe you want to, you know, like I said before, maybe you want to sell t-shirts. So feel free to make a business about whatever you want. It's just going to be a super fun daydreaming exercise that I like to I find it so fun. So let's get to it. So let's think first. First things first, we're going to need a company name. I guess we need to think of what our company is going to be first, Sarah. So what kind of company do we want to have?
I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, for the name, I think that we would maybe combine our names together.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
So the first three letters of my name are S-A-R, and the first three letters of your name is L-E-U. And I think Salu is a nice name for a company.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's got a real ring to it.
It does.
I like that.
It sounds like French. Salut.
Salut.
Salut. I'm probably saying it wrong, but yeah.
Me too. My French is bad.
Yeah. But I think that's okay. That's a start. And do you know what? We can always change the company name later. It doesn't have to be something we stick to. And that's something that we can change along the way with our fantasy company.
That's so true. Chat, let us know, what company name have you chosen and why? How did you come up with it? But if you are going to tell us why, remember, make sure that you're keeping anonymous in the chat. Don't give any personal information. So if your company is maybe related to something personal to you, don't tell us. Keep that one a secret. But if it's pretty anonymous, a secret spy could give out that information, let us know. I'd like to know. Now, Sarah, what should a company be and what do we want to achieve with this company? Do we want to be really famous? Do we want to make lots of money? Or do we maybe just think it would be a fun company to have for a little while? And what should it be, I think, is the first question.
Yeah, so I think my question is like, what problem do we want our company to solve? So when I think about problems, I think maybe, so I think I'd like to work on climate change. And I think maybe, so at Girl Geek Academy, we have an electric vehicle, but I just think maybe some of the electric vehicles that are like available at the moment could be cooler. And maybe designed for young people. So like maybe I could create an electric car for girls.
Yeah.
Like girls and women in this workshop. What do you think? Do you like that idea?
Yes.
Great.
So chat, just fun thing about me, I love cars. I think they're the coolest thing ever. I'm so into cars. And I find it extremely exciting that Girl Geek Academy has an electric vehicle. I just, every time like appears as the thing, I'm like, oh, cool. I have a look at it. So I love the idea of making electric cars for girls and women. And I honestly, when I was kind of growing up and, you know, I was like too young to drive, I always wished I had like a little mini car that I could like drive around on the pavement or whatever. That's like my dream. So maybe we could make like, I don't know, maybe it's hard to make a mini car for people.
I think one that we could drive on the footpath, right? Like, so It's not a bike, but it's a little electric car. And then we could have like our little girl gang of electric car drivers. I think that would be super fun.
Yeah, that's cute. I love that idea. And what we want to achieve with this is we want to help climate change, right? And help the environment.
Yeah, and we need more electric vehicles to be able to do that. So let's make some.
Yeah. Just writing this down. More electric cars to achieve that. Nice. I think that's a really good goal. What do you reckon? Tell us in the chat. Do you like our idea? Please be nice though. And what's your idea and what are you trying to achieve with your company, your business? And last one on this slide, when do we want to achieve our goal? When's that important date that they say you need to take action for climate change? Probably past like 6 of them, but is it
I think maybe 2030. So what's that, 9 years away? But I'd like to do something sooner. So at Girl Geek Academy, we're aiming to teach 1 million women and girls by 2025. So if we did that, maybe those 1 million girls could drive our electric vehicles. So maybe 2025, so 4 years.
Yeah, I like that idea.
All right. I think we could aim for that.
Yeah. And Sarah, I'm interested to know as a CEO, when you're thinking of your company and your awesome business, when you were first thinking up the idea of Girl Geek Academy with your friends, were you thinking, what is our goal and when do we want to achieve it by? And like when you first kind of thought of Girl Geek Academy, one of the first things you thought about was we want to teach 1 million girls tech skills by 2025? Was that like in the forefront of your mind, or how did that come about?
The first stuff for us was that we were a group of women who came together and we did what's called a hackathon, which is where you get together and you make tech with your friends, much like what we're doing now. And we did that. And then we said, that's really fun. And lots of people wanted to come. And so we were like, we should do more things like that. And so that's sort of how we came across the business idea. And then we went, well, if we're going to bother running a business, it may as well be a cool one that does awesome stuff. And that's where we came up with our big dream, is to say, wouldn't it be cool if we taught 1 million women and girls by 2025 more tech skills and how to build cool things on the internet? And then we thought actually that then we'd have 1 million friends. And we thought that would be a really cool idea. And so that's why we started our company.
Oh, that's so nice.
Well, we thought you may as well run a nice company that does something that, you know, would be fun and interesting, as opposed to, I don't know, running a boring company.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Oh, that's like interesting insight as well to know, because I feel like a lot of the time we don't actually get to talk to people who run a business and have started a company from the get-go and it's been running for a while. So I think it's really fascinating to hear about that kind of stuff. So thanks for sharing. Yeah. Okay, what's the next bit on our business plan? What does my cool company do? Do you want to make digital products, physical products, or do you want to provide services? And services can be stuff like making websites, graphic design, or fixing computers, stuff like that. And tell us in the chat as well, if you're just filling out this workshop or this worksheet kind of in the chat, what would your cool company do? We want to know. Our cool company, Sarah, it makes physical products, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess it does.
I was like, oh no, Sarah, are you still there? That's all right.
But yes.
Oh no.
So yeah, we make physical products, and we find people, I guess, all over Australia to send them to, and New Zealand, actually maybe the world. We can work out how to get the cars overseas.
Yeah. Wow, I've just written so much that doesn't fit in the box, so I'll just make it a little bit smaller. Okay. And what is our first project called? Now, that's a little bit different to the company name, isn't it? The project is kind of like your first goal or your first thing you want to try and do with your company. Is that correct?
Yeah, so like, the company, it's called Salu, and then we'll need like, what is our first project? Now, in our case, our first project probably still is to create a car. But that's the first bit, is we need to actually create it. So in order to have a car company that sells lots of cars, we have to create the first car first.
Got it. And what should we call our first project? Let's give it a secret code name.
You're the car.
Can we call it Operation something?
Yes.
I feel like it's very cool to call something Operation.
Secret project that only us and everyone here knows. Operation
Make Mates. That's a bad name.
Yeah, no, yeah, or Operation Footpath, or Operation. I think Operation Footpath.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't know what that means, but we know what that means.
It's also just not confusing.
True. That's true. And our first project is to make a car. We're thinking? Make a car?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's how we'll get into it.
Yeah, and I guess that's not making a car, would involve designing it, prototyping. So, and let us know in the chat if you know what prototyping means. Prototyping the car, testing the car. There's lots of different things that would go into the process of making a car. There we go. How does that look, Sarah? Oh, and why is it awesome? Why is this first project awesome? How is it going to make it unique?
I think it'll be the first time that it would be a car for young people.
Yeah. We're making a car for young people. Yeah, I like that. I reckon that's a pretty cool project, and it's definitely unique, I would say. That is pretty good. Okay. Next bit, market research. Now we're getting into the kind of the nitty and gritty of stuff. So we have to think, is there anything else like my project? Can you maybe think of 3 similar projects? Maybe it's a popular project, maybe there's a beautiful project, and maybe there's one that's a bit kind of left of field. Is there anything like our thing? I think our idea is pretty unique, Sarah, don't you reckon?
It's pretty unique, but I would say maybe something that's similar is like not like normal cars that are on the road. Something else that's similar are like that could give us ideas of what to do or what not to do is other electric cars.
Yeah.
So it is unique, like the way we're doing it is unique, but there are other things that are maybe similar that we can be like, how did they do that part?
Yeah, got it. And there is companies that make like scooters for people, right? Like kids are allowed to ride those, those electric scooters.
Yeah, so there's electric scooters, but then there's also just like the way kids get around normally. So kids normally ride bikes, they walk, they might ride scooters that aren't electric. How else do kids go around? Rollerblades. So these are like maybe some of our competitors, because people may say, No, I much rather ride my roller skates than ride in your car. So we have to think about those things in order to think about, well, how do we make ours the thing that people actually want to do?
Yeah, I like that. And who uses or buys these things? Is there like a certain age group, or maybe they all share a hobby? I guess we've already identified that. They all, at least with our competitors, they're all young people, right?
Yeah, well,
at
maybe
least for the scooters.
Yeah, for those young things, yes, but also sometimes people get things as presents. So young people, if they have their own money, might buy these things and might buy our product. But also parents and grandparents and adults buy these things for young people. So there's kind of like two different groups of people who buys and uses these things.
That's so true. That's such a good point. Parents and grandparents and adults. That's a very, very good point. Because yeah, usually they're the people who are buying awesome scooters and bikes and skateboards for young people. So that's a really good point. And they're also the people who are buying cars as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, how do they make money? Like the other competitors, I mean, not the adults. How do our competitors make money? Do they sell stuff? Do some of them maybe have subscriptions? Do they have a certain place that they sell stuff? We could take inspiration from things like this. So I guess with our competitors, they obviously sell things, right?
Yeah, so they often sell the cars directly. Maybe sometimes you can buy some of these things online. And then sometimes they have their own dedicated physical shops. And then how they make money is they buy those things for one price, and then they probably sell it to us a little bit more expensive, and they make money on the sale.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because they need to make money somewhere.
Yeah. And
so they probably buy it from someone who maybe sells it from a factory, and then they take it to a shop and make it look really pretty, or like maybe they set up a website, and that's the effort that they get paid for when they sell it.
Interesting point. That's a really, that's really fun going through this with the CEO. It's great. Okay, now let's think about so basically what we were doing in that last bit where we were thinking about our competitors and other companies, we were being a bit of a spy. So what are some things that we learned from looking at our competition? We can kind of think about maybe we can understand at least who our project is aimed at. And we kind of know now after that learning that our project is maybe aimed at parents. Do you reckon that's right, Sarah?
Yeah, I think so. Parents and young people. But I think we definitely have to have parents on board, because they're the ones, even if they don't buy it, they have to give their kids permission to be able to drive our cool car along the footpath.
That's very true. That's so true. And how does my project make money? I guess we're going to make money by selling the cars, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We will make money by selling the cars. Yeah, I mean, there's other ways we could make money as well. Like maybe you are part of a club where you ride all your cars together. That's another way that we could make money. But I think the main way is definitely selling our cool cars.
Yeah. Car club. I like the idea of that. That's very fun. And the last question on this page, where are people going to find it? That I think means, do we want to have an online shop, or do we want to have a physical shop, or maybe something a little bit different? I reckon maybe we could have both. Is that tricky to do, Sarah?
I think so. It might be tricky to have a physical shop or create a physical shop if we don't have enough people in our local area that might want to buy it. But I mean, there's kids everywhere, so that should be fine.
Yeah.
Or if we have an online shop, then it means we could just sell all around the world and put things in the post.
That's a good idea. And that makes sense because we said previously that we wanted our business to be for people all over the world.
Yeah, I reckon that's the way to go.
Yeah. And tell us in the chat, how are you going with your business plan? What bit are you up to? What's your company? Who's your competition? Who do you think your product is aimed at? And how are you thinking your products might make money? Who are you going to sell to? Let us know in the chat. I love hearing about everyone's kind of business plan ideas. So please tell us in the chat. It's so much fun. Now, we've only got a couple more slides left. So let's go to the second last one, project planning. Okay, what kind of help might I need? And what might I need to learn about? So this is about figuring out how you can actually make your dream business work. really nice to think we can do everything ourselves. But one of the awesome things about making a new company is you get to work with really cool people and you get to work together on something really awesome. So, you know, maybe you don't know how to program and maybe you need a little bit of programming help to make the website. Or maybe you want to have a really awesome logo for your company. So you might need some help with the artwork. Or maybe you just don't know how to run a business, which is totally fine. So you might need to ask someone for business advice. What kind of help might we need, Sarah? You kind of know how to run a business, so we probably don't need to ask anyone for business advice, but maybe we might need some help with the logo. Could we maybe hire a designer?
I think that's a great idea because, I mean, I know you're really good at designing, but maybe we'll be so busy trying to, you know, get the website up that we might want to be able to get some help. The other thing that we might want to get some help with is someone to actually help us design and test and make the car.
Yes.
Because we might be able to come up with the idea of what we want, but I don't own a factory.
No, I don't know how to I know how to clean up my engine a little bit, but I don't know how to put together a whole electric vehicle. That's a lot of expertise that maybe neither of us have, and that's okay.
Yeah, but I think that we could work it out. And we could find the people who could help us do that bit.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a pretty good list, actually. And Sarah, luckily enough, we actually both know how to make a website, so we could make a website ourselves, huh?
I think that bit that we can definitely do together.
Yeah, so it feels so good when you can do that kind of stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. And when can we work on it? Are we really busy? And is this company our top priority in the world? Do we want to drop everything else we're doing to make this company come to life? Or do we maybe want to be able to do other stuff too? Maybe you want to have time to read your favorite book still. So maybe you actually only want to work on it a certain amount of hours every week. What do you reckon, Sarah? You've got a lot of other stuff going on. You've got Girl Geek, you're running Girl Geek Academy. I'm working at Girl Geek Academy and I'm making video games.
So I'm thinking that maybe we could work on it like one day after work and then maybe like for a few hours on the weekend while we make the car, then we make the website. And then once we start selling the cars, if we sell heaps, maybe then we'll be like, wow, the business actually needs us to work more on it. But until that point, we don't know, right? So maybe if we work on it like, I don't know, Wednesdays after work and for 2 hours on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, I can't spell. Wow. Wednesdays. Yeah, and the Saturday morning could be fun because then we can like hang out. First thing you do on the weekend, hang out with your mate. And then we can just have the rest of that weekend.
That sounds really good. And then we'll still enjoy it. And we're not working too hard, but we're just putting in enough effort to be able to get it going.
I agree. I think that's good. And how long do you think it's going to take before we can test our project? I think that means how long until we have our first car for our case, huh?
Yeah, I reckon.
A long time, I think, right?
I think it might be a year. And I think that's okay. I think because like we're working on it Wednesdays after work and Saturday morning, we have to find the people to help us. They have to send us like the version of the car. So yeah, I think it's okay for us to test over like about a year. Yeah. And then if it goes really well, then we can be in business next year selling the cars.
I like that plan. That sounds really good. Okay, we're on to the last page now. So this is the last bit, and then we're going to have a bit more of a chat about, planning a budget, and then we're going to go to another activity really quickly. So let's go over, lastly, some project goals. What is the kind of, what will we be happy with if we can achieve with our company? Like, what is like, if we can do this, we'll think, yeah, I did it. I'm like happy with myself. I would be really happy if we can sell 5 cars, I think, Sarah.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good because, we may not sell 5 million cars, but if 5 more girls would be able to drive, on the footpath to the park or to school or up to their grandma's house, I think that would be 5 girls who, we might change their lives. So I'm really happy with 5. Yes, I think that's pretty amazing. And so I would be really happy with that as well. I think 5 cars.
Yeah, and what would make us absolutely over the moon, super, super thrilled, like, I can't believe I've done this. What's our, like, oh my gosh, dream goal? If everyone got a car.
Yeah.
Every young person gets an electric car. Or maybe, is that bad for the environment if everyone gets one? Is that maybe excessive?
Oh, well, maybe there's people who live in families and like their brothers and sisters could share them.
Share.
So maybe like that every young person could access one when they need it.
Yeah, that's a better
Maybe
goal.
they don't need to own it, but maybe there's like, I don't know, one on your street corner that you're allowed to use when you need it.
Yes, that's a great goal. I think that's really good. And I think it fits with our original goal of we want to make an environmentally we want to, contribute to helping climate change. I think that would help. And last question, how do we make that happen? What are 3 steps we can take towards achieving our goals? I think the first one is make a car design.
Yep.
That seems like a good place to start. Make a car design. What should be our second step?
I think actually putting the time in our calendar. So, we've said we're going to work on it Wednesdays and Saturdays. I was going to say that could be the second one. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
It can be the first one. So putting the time in our calendar to make sure that we actually do it. Because, sometimes how you're like, yeah, I'm totally going to do that. And then unless it's actually a reminder for yourself that you don't actually do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe the third one could be meet some awesome people to help us make our dream come true.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And also, you've just got to put a C on car design.
Oh, you're right. Car. Awesome. Go out. Oh my gosh.
Great. And to celebrate, Laura, I have included another slide for us, which is us, what we might look like, showing off, that's just a big version of our adult vehicle, but we need a smaller version of that one. What do you reckon?
I reckon. Honestly, I love this photo. That's me in the car. That's Sarah next to me. How good's that, huh?
And we're like, yes, we're so fierce. We're going to drive electric cars. Yeah.
So much fun. Yeah, chat. I hope you had a good time with that. Let us know what your dream business was. Do you reckon you could achieve it one day, or you'd like to have a go, or maybe you'd less like to dream about it forever? And I think both of those are actually pretty valid. Now, we're just going to bring it back a little bit to budgets, because if we want our dream businesses to actually be able to exist, like we said before, we're going to need a budget, right? We're going to need to use maths to make sure that our dream businesses can become a reality. And one of the really cool things is that, we've had a bit of a chat to someone about this, because obviously they are a business. And I was asking them, I said, hey, Sunsilk, how on earth do you, think about all the different important maths and things that have to go into making your business work? So, whenever Sunsilk launch a new product, they need to ensure that the income they make is above the cost that it's going to take to make and sell the product. So the income is basically the sell price, or what they sell each bottle of shampoo and conditioner for. And then the expenses are going to be stuff like designing the label on the bottle and researching what awesome shampoo and conditioner they might make, and, producing the packaging and getting it from the factory to the retailer, all these advertising, all these things cost money. And so when big companies like Sunsilk have to think of a budget, basically what they do is they say, how much can I sell this for? And how much is the expenses going to be? And then whatever I'm left over with is my profits. Now, Sarah, I'm really interested to know, do you go through a similar thing with when you kind of think about Girl Geek and some of the programs that we might run?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is go, well, what are we selling, or what could we sell it for? And then think about, well, what do I need to actually make it happen? And do those line up? Because sometimes, some people might say, I think it'd be great if a business made a new car, but I only want to pay $2 for the car. And you have to think, but the things I need to make the car cost more than $2. So the wheels and the insides and the outsides, I couldn't make a car for $2. So if that was my business would not make any money, and I couldn't be in business anymore. So we have to think about all of those things. And we do that at Girl Geek Academy. So for example, we have books, we have beanies, we have lots of different things that we've been able to make. And I have to think about, what's the cost of the thing? What's the cost of telling people about it? And then what's the cost of posting it? That's something that's, I always forget about postage, and it's actually quite expensive. If it's more than a letter or a sticker, it's $10, like straight away, at least in Australia. Yeah, it's not cheap.
Oh my gosh.
So that's actually stopped us at Girl Geek Academy, because people are always like, why don't you make all of this cool stuff? Which I would do, but the cost of sending it to people gets, like, people don't want to pay, $11 for something that is actually only $1, but then they have to pay $10 worth of postage. So that's where you have to be really careful and thinking about what it is that you're going to make. And that's why we do a budget.
Oh, interesting. And have you ever, like, I guess when you were first starting the business, was there anything that you had to think of in the budget that you were surprised at, or that you were like, oh, I didn't think I had to think about that? I mean, postage seems like one, but even in like running a business, like obviously, with Girl Geek Academy, there are employees and you have to pay your employees. Like, is that stuff that you maybe originally thought about when you were thinking about the business? Was that always on your mind, or was there some things where you were like, wow, I'm surprised that was a cost, but of course it is? Like, do you have any of those moments?
Yeah, like, and sometimes things that cost stuff change as the business grows, or it changes how much you need, all of those sorts of things. So I usually start with a template and I update the template as the business grows. But do you want to hear a funny story?
Always.
So once I bought something and it was actually the opposite. So instead of being too expensive, it was actually really cheap. And so I didn't think about what I was buying. And my colleague said, hey, Sarah, can I please spend this amount of money on buying this thing? And I said, yes. And that amount of money is a perfectly tiny, reasonable amount of money to spend. And so because it was a small amount of money, I didn't actually think about it. Was what it was coffee cups. And so I said yes, and I paid for them. And then they came to my house and there was 25,000 of them. And I was like, that's too many coffee cups. And so ever since that happened, I've had to pay to store them. It was 2 pallets worth, which it came on a massive truck, not an order. I was in a house, and lucky I had a spare room to put them all in, but it filled the spare room and people like fall over and lids and all of this stuff. But because the money on that she asked for was a small amount, I just assumed it was a small amount of cups.
Oh no.
If anyone wants any, go we have them, but because of lockdowns, we can't actually go and get them at the moment. But that's a funny example of, even if you have the budget, maybe you might want to look at the detail a little bit more about what you're buying. So I found that a funny story.
That's a really good story. Wow. I guess that's stuff to consider. Like, and yeah, you're right.
It's space and it's storage and it's lots of other things but that's what, you make mistakes running a business, and that's okay. And we all learn. And now I have lots of cups if ever anyone needs any cups.
I don't have to swing by and get some. Maybe when we're out of lockdown, I might.
That's it.
Just sounds fun. Like, sounds good. So yeah, we kind of now know that for our business to be successful, we're going to need to, think about that budget. Now, tell us in the chat, have you ever set up a budget before? And it doesn't have to be a business budget. It could be a budget for anything. Sometimes people set up budgets because they want to save up for something, or sometimes you just set a budget because you're just interested in knowing how much you're spending. And let us know in the chat, if you have set up a budget, what are some of the things that you considered? I've got a story about setting up a budget for myself. One of the first times I ever set up a budget, and this is going to show how old I am. But I remember I really wanted a Nintendo Wii. It was like my dream. Growing up, I don't have any brothers or sisters. So I had a few video game consoles, but they were always little handheld ones, because it didn't really make a lot of sense for my parents to spend a whole bunch of money on a video game console for my TV if I was going to be the only one playing it. But that was okay. I had a Nintendo DS and I had a Game Boy, and they were awesome. I love them and I still love them. But I remember when the Nintendo Wii came out, I played a few at my friend's house and I just fell in love. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to play Wii bowling forever. And I remember saying to my dad, I was like, Dad, I really, really, really want a Nintendo Wii. And he said, oh, okay, well, you might have to save up to get one then. And I said, okay, I get it. And I earned, I think it was $5 pocket. I usually earn $2 pocket money a week. But Dad, he said, I'll up it to $5 pocket money a week. And if you can save your money, well, we did a budget. I remember we sat in a cafe and we wrote out a budget. and we figured out how long it would take me with my $5 pocket money a week to be able to afford a Wii. And I did. I saved up my money and I bought myself a Wii, and it was like my first ever TV gaming console, and I loved it. And I played so much Wii bowling. It was good. But that was my first time I ever set up a budget, and I remember it really, really vividly. And I was really proud of myself that I was able to use my maths to save up and get myself a Wii. So let us know in the chat, have you ever used a budget to save up for something maybe that you really wanted, or are you maybe in the middle of saving up for something you really want? Have you ever done that, Sarah? Like, just personally, have you ever like had to kind of think, I really want this, and you kind of set up a budget and saved up for it?
I probably should have done it more than I have.
It's all right.
Yeah, I've saved up for holidays, and then also like I think about the budget of my house. I've often lived in share houses, so once I lived with 8 people.
8 people.
It was a mansion. It was like, anyway, it wasn't a business. It was like, you know, we just all had it was good. And then so for that we had to think about, well, who's gonna cook and clean and do all these bits around the house. And so we budgeted little bits to make sure that we always had enough, like, you know, money for garbage bags and things like that. And so we always had to have a house budget because we had so many housemates. We didn't want the one person having to pay for everything.
Oh, that's nice. That's a really friendly budget. That sounds like a nice idea. I really like that. Yeah, so, you know, for our business to be a success, you know, obviously, yeah, we need a budget. And that involves working up how much money you're going to make, and deciding kind of how much we want to save. And, you know, whatever's left over is what you're going to spend that money on. You know, so there's obviously lots of ways that we can use a budget for, and what we might want to use a budget with. So we're going to do one last activity where you're going to make a budget for our dream business. So we've already planned, I've got some instructions on the screen, but we're going to go through it together. I just thought I'd pop these on in case anyone wants to like speed read it, but you don't have to. But yeah, basically, you know, we've already planned our dream business. We know about the importance of a budget. And if we actually realistically want to make our business happen, which we can, by the way, like these businesses we've planned, we've got a plan for it now. We can actually make these businesses. We're going to need to make up a budget for it, though. We're going to need to know what our expenses are, how we're going to make money, you know, basically that thing we were talking about with Sunsilk earlier. I'll just get the slide back up. You know, we need to think about what our income is going to be, what our expenses are, and then what's left over is going to be our profit. So yeah, we're going to be going through and making our own budget now. And again, we've got basically what we've done is we've made up this little PDF. I designed it myself, feel like a genius. We've made up this little PDF and we have emailed this to you, and we've also linked it in the Google Calendar invite. So you can fill it out yourself. But if you don't have access to it, that's fine. You can actually just, you know, it's pretty simple. You can just write out the categories on a little bit of paper, or you can let us know in the chat what you think your business expenses might be, as long as you remember that you're not giving out any personal information. You're being a secret spy about the information you give out. But yeah, what we're going to do now is me and Sarah, basically, we're going to just really quickly fill out our business budget for our dream business of selling electric vehicles. And then at the end, we can kind of get a bit of an idea of how profitable our business is, what some things we might need to consider are, and, you know, really using maths to make our dreams come true. Like if you have planned a business that you really actually want to make, this budget is literally going to help make your dreams come true. So it's very cool. So let's have a go at doing it now. Yeah, if you're following along at home, feel free to, you know, just go through this at your own pace. And again, feel free to give us your progress in the chat. So let's fill out this first bit here. We need to fill out our business budget planner name. So what was it? Our business was Salu, right?
Salu.
Salu, yeah. Cool. Everyone can see that on the screen, right? Oh my gosh, I can't spell. Salu, there we go. That's our business budget name. Now, how are we going to make money? Can you remember what we said, Sarah? We were going to sell our cars, right?
Yeah, so we were going to sell our cars. And then I'm thinking that in our first year, we might sell, I hope we sell 100 cars in the first year. What do you think?
That'd be awesome. I think that would be really cool.
And then I think, like, maybe they're electric cars. I'm trying to think how much, like, we would sell them for. I think like people pay a couple of $100 for a scooter, maybe a couple of $100, like much less for rollerblades. So maybe like $400 each.
Yeah.
So it should be 100 times $400.
Yeah. So then the total cost would be So the total would be 100 times 400. Hey, chat, can you let us know? What's 100 times 400? Let us know. Let us know. Tell us. Can you tell us, Sarah? What's 100 times 400?
It should be $40,000, I think. Wait, yes, that should be right.
It'd be embarrassing if we got the maths wrong on there.
Yes, I was thinking that. Or is it $4,000? No, that's 10.
No, it's 40,000.
40,000. No, I thought so.
Yeah, it is. $40,000. There we go. We've used some maths. And that's what it's like to use maths in the real world. So there we go. So we have just figured out that we think in our first year, if we can sell 100 cars, we can make a profit of $40,000. Now let's have a look at our business costs and see if we're able to make a profit at the end of it. So what are some of our business costs you can think of, Sarah? We might need to pay our friends who are helping us, right?
Yeah, so we're going to need to pay the people who make the car.
I wonder how much that
And there's a few ways to work this out. Like it might be, there's the cost of the business and then there's the cost per car.
Okay.
So the first thing, so the person who makes the car, I think they'll probably charge us $1,000 for the prototype.
Oh, that's 100. Check.
And then
Just forgot how to type. So yeah, so we think that it might cost $1,000 for our friends to help us prototype the car. Is that correct, Sarah?
yeah, and then I think maybe another $1,000 for us to tell everybody. So we might like maybe make an ad.
Okay.
So maybe some like a YouTube ad.
That's fun. Okay. Yep.
And then what else? And then I think it might cost another $1,000 for it to be pink.
Okay.
Because I want it to be pink, and I think maybe that's more expensive than black, because we'd need pink paint. So that's what I think there. So that's $3,000 so far. And then I think maybe, can you think of anything else that we would need to pay?
What if we want to go for a yummy meal and have a meeting while we're having a yummy meal? Does that count as a business cost if we want to have a meeting in a restaurant?
We might need an office space.
Okay.
So that might be $1,000. And that's a place for us to have our yummy meals at. And then there's probably like some legal stuff. Like there's probably some like advice we'd need because like the cars are for young people. So there's the legal, so we'd need some money to speak to a lawyer, and probably we need to register our business. And I think, well, it's about $750 to register a business in Australia. And you can do so when you're 18. If you're under 18 and want to register a business in Australia, you just need the support of your parents. So it is possible to run, and if you want any details, you can email us. But you can run a business if you're under 18, but you do just need the support there. So I think maybe that's another $1,000, and I think that's about $5,000 of some business costs. What do you think?
Yeah, I've got 3,000 plus 1,000, which is 4,000 plus 750 is 4,750.
Plus there was the extra legal cost, which is $250.
Okay, yeah, which makes it 5,000. Nice. Oh my gosh, so we're making a lot of money then. So if we go to the bottom bit here where it says
no, we're not making a lot of money. We forgot a bit. Like,
what if
so that's the business cost, but then we have the cost per car.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I was about to say, wow, we're rich.
No,
okay, so
we're not rich yet, Laura. Strap yourself in.
Oh, no.
So then what's going to happen is we actually need to make the cars. And so per car, so we've got 100 of these cars. And I think the car itself will probably cost us about $200 and about $50 posted to us from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So I think, so if it's $250 per car posted to us, and there's 100 cars, can anyone work out how much that costs?
Tell us in the chat. 100 times 250. Let us know. What do you think that is? Bit of maths in the maths workshop. I think we're still in for a profit here, Sarah.
Well, I hope so. I hope we've still got a business. So I think that it's $25,000. Is that right, Laura?
I think you're right.
All right. So it's $25,000 for 100 cars. Then it's $5,000 of the business cost. So 25,000 plus 5,000, that's $30,000 in costs for the business.
Got it. So that means in a year, we're going to make, tell us in the chat, if our income is $40,000, we're making $40,000 by selling 100 cars, and we're losing, or our business costs are $30,000 or $25,000, sorry.
No, it is 30,000. 25,000 for the cars plus $5,000 for the business.
And this is why we're a team, Sarah. It's $30,000. What is going to be our overall profit? It's going to be 40,000 minus 30,000. Anyone tell us in the chat, what is going to be our overall profit? Can you think of it, Sarah? I think I can think of it.
Oh, I don't know. You go. You have a go.
I think it's $10,000 profit. So that means we can give ourselves $10,000. That's great. We love that. Now tell us in the chat, did you manage to make profit, or is your business maybe not profitable yet? That's okay too. Sometimes businesses take a little bit of time to make money, and then when they make money, it feels really awesome. But yeah, let us know in the chat, is your business profitable or not? And if it is profitable, how much money did you make? $10,000 can seem like a lot, Sarah, but I guess if we wanted to work at our business and that be our only job, that means we're only making $5,000 a year, right?
Each, yes.
Yeah. So maybe we need to sell some more cars before we can quit our day job, huh?
That's it. It might be a while.
Oh, well, still pretty cool though that we could make $10,000. It's exciting to think about. So tell us in the chat, what did you come up with? How did your budget come up? Are you maybe surprised about your budget? You know, do you think that maybe after looking at your budget and doing your business plan, you maybe might like to run your dream business one day? I know I would. I would love to run our business one day, Sarah. If we get really bored and we run out of things to do at Girl Geek Academy for some reason, or maybe we just feel like running two businesses at once, should we make Sailor and make some electric cars?
I'd love to. I'm genuinely serious about wanting to make an electric car. I think,
yeah.
I think we have lots of friends who would be very useful in us doing that.
I think so too. That's the awesome thing about making friends in lots of different places, right? You can all help each other when you want to make something awesome. Very exciting. Now, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out today. I honestly have the most fun time. I love doing business plans like that. I find it so exciting. Now, if you do want to keep working on your business plan, maybe you want some advice about how, if you actually do want to make your business, maybe you want some advice about things you can think about, you're always welcome to send us any future projects to hello@girlgeekacademy.com, because we're always happy to talk about it. We're always happy to talk through business ideas with you and get excited about what you're doing, because it's really exciting stuff. And, you know, this is honestly why maths is so awesome, because it can really help make our dreams come true. It's so good. Sarah, what was the most fun thing you had doing today, or maybe the most exciting thing that you looked at today?
I think I liked it when we were working out like what is the cost per car versus the cost for the whole business, because that was fun working that out. Yeah, and I think that was my favorite bit, was, you know, the two parts of the business, like, yeah, working out the maths.
Yeah, can I be honest with you? One of my favorite bits was actually just hearing about like the kind of budget kind of priorities that you realistically think of as a CEO, like, because that you actually just don't hear that perspective super often. So it's really interesting to hear, like, from a friend, what the priorities are for keeping an awesome company like Girl Geek Academy going. I find that really cool. So thanks for sharing.
No worries. Anytime. Literally email me anytime.
Awesome. I love that. hello@girlgeekacademy.com. Okay, everyone, that's all we're going to have time for today. But we had so much fun, and there is some more workshops coming up in the future, so we would love to see you there. For now, though, that's all we've got time for. So I hope everyone has a really awesome afternoon, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
See you next time.
See ya.